Hi, I'm Nick. This is the TBT channel. Welcome to this video, the Ugly Bug Ball, I guess. Two very ugly guns, and we're going to take a look at them side by side. The first one of these you would have seen is this FX here. Came to me from Guns & Co. N10, half an hour north of Bordeaux, half an hour south of Angoulême. It was leaking. It's a customer's gun and it was leaking. So they wanted me to see if I could fix the leak because they'd had it for a while and had so far failed to do so. They'd had parts from Sportsman Gun Centre, parts from FX. It just wouldn't stop leaking. So I got that, took it apart, replaced some O-seals which to me didn't look right. Some other parts as well, cleaned those up, found a little bit of crap in there that I don't think should have been in there, and rebuilt it. And then on Monday my compressor arrived, my GXCS3 PCP compressor, which meant I could charge it up and test it. And charge it up I did, and test it I have. It's holding air like an absolute champ. It's doing fabulously. So that's fixed and it's going back to the gun shop tomorrow, which could be another video. They do have a Rossi 1892 44 Magnum that's just come in, a used one. Oh, I do love a cowboy gun. I do. So that might happen. It might happen. I don't know. But anyway, so I'm going to take this back tomorrow to be given back to the customer. But I thought, well, while it's here, I'd compare it to my ugly gun. This is my ugly gun I got last Friday. It looks, to the uneducated, very similar to the FX, which is what is next to it, in it or not. But it is different in many ways. First of all, it is less than half the price. I got this one for 686 euros delivered. So I'm just trying to make sure they're not clattering together. And I believe these are about 14 or 1500 euros currently. So that is almost exactly, or just over, twice the price of that. Now, I know a lot of you don't like this style of gun, and I am with you. I agree with you on that. They're all black and sticky out bits. I like wood. But the more I looked into getting a PCP, the more I kept seeing ones like this, and the more I kept seeing a normal, if you like, PCP, thinking, God, that's long, isn't it? So I ended up with this little thing here. And the idea being, I could have gone out and spent 1,500 on a FX Maverick, like this one here. I could have spent 1,800 or 2,000 on an Impact. But what's that going to tell you? I mean, realistically, if you look at it from my point of view, okay, I come on here and I bother you several times a week and I talk about guns. My business is making guns better, whether it be a Viarc, an Air Arms, whatever it is you've got a spring gun. It's a good gun, but I believe you can make it better, and we sell parts to help you to do that. If you spend £2 on a gun and make a video and say, I spent £2,000 on this gun, it's perfect and hits the target, well, you're not telling anyone anything really, are you? You expect that. You expect for £2,000 the gun works. So I'm looking at an option that ostensibly, good word, write it down, word of the month, ostensibly looks the same as one of these very expensive FXs, but for considerably less money. And with a little bit of work, can it be made as good? And that's what we're looking at. And that's what I was doing. And that's what I'm going to continue doing with this one. Now, a side-by-side comparison of the two. I'll put my pellets over there to the side. Okay, now, if I do a side-by-side comparison, the first thing I can tell you is, this is the heaviest gun in the world. This, absolutely the heaviest gun in the world. It's unbelievably dense. Because it's so short, you don't expect it to be that heavy, and it is massively heavy. Yet you pick this one up, it's floating away. It's light as a feather. I think most of that is because we've got a carbon fibre bottle at the front as opposed to steel. I don't know, because it's charged. I'm not going to discharge it just so that I can take the bottle off and see how much difference in weight there is, but I think an awful lot of it is that. Then when you look at the overall length, my little Weetabix here, Reximex here, is considerably shorter than this one. Now I know you can get compact versions and blah blah blah, but the one I've got here is this. Okay, this Maverick is the one in front of me. And I've got to say, shooting them, my one, although it's shorter, is quieter than this one here. Now, some may be saying, oh yes, but that's just got a shroud on there. You've got a silencer on yours. Or moderator. Silence is the correct word, but some people prefer moderator because they like to be snarky. So, yeah, that's true. This has got a silencer on it. That's only got the shroud on the front of it. But because this is already shorter than that, if you were to put a silencer on this as well, it'd be like an HW35 export. You'd be poking your squirrels out of the tree with it. It's already too long. Adding a moderator on the front just makes it redunculous. So there's not much in it, but this is just a little bit quieter. They both do many shots. I've run them both over the chrono. They're both very easy to adjust power. They've both got a power knob. And on maximum, they both do about 30 foot-pound. And on minimum, they both do, well, this one does 2 foot-pound, that one does 4 foot-pound. So, you know, the low power is low enough. The high power, they're both about the same, about 30 foot-pounds. The triggers. Now, you will have heard me in the first video, and if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it, moaning about the trigger on this. Oh my God, it's bloody awful. I got rid of the first stage. It was a really mushy first stage and then an indistinct second stage. So I changed it, adjusted it as best I could into a crisp single stage. It is an absolute pleasure to use compared to the one on the FX. The one on the FX is undoubtedly better. Its 2 stages undoubtedly better than the 2 stage was on this. But after having adjusted this one, the single stage on this is better than the 2 stage on that. But again, this is a customer's gun. I'm not going to start messing around with this trigger. I'm only being paid to fix the leak. The trigger's not bad, but it's not good. I'm used to record triggers or the CD triggers in the air arms, and they are just a brilliant trigger. I don't think any bullpup design will ever have a trigger as good as that. But currently, after a little bit of work, this is better than that. Ergonomics of them, the weight of this, I mean, the weight of this is the thing. It's an absolute killer. Fortunately, I knew this was heavy when I bought it because I can read, and I'd read the reviews and I'd watched reviews, and I only use it off of my bench. I'm not going to be carrying it anywhere. I'm not going to be standing with it, kneeling with it, anything like that. I'm going to be shooting off of a bench, nice and comfy, cup of tea, tripod, monopod at the back, pop, and that's it. So the weight doesn't matter. If you were carrying them around the fields, the FX will undoubtedly be better, but it is rather ungainly. And then we come to, I mean, build quality, the cocking action. I suppose you could say the FX, it's slightly smoother, but not very much. And this is still a new gun, still only had a few shots through it. I'm sure it will improve, and it is actually, it's just quite slick. There's no sticky points, no gritty parts or anything like that on this one. Actually, I don't know. That one feels a little harder to pull back, but then again, I'm using my left hand, aren't I? No, it's a shorter lever. Do you know what? If you're going to sit there and compare cocking actions and levers and stuff, you're wasting your life. Get out, do something more exciting. So yeah, the only thing left now is the accuracy. Shooting them, they're both fun to shoot. It's a gun. All guns are fun to shoot. That's why we own them. I'm limited as to what I can do with accuracy testing because I'm still waiting a delivery of pellets. I have, I suppose, 10 different types of 2.2 pellets, but the ones that are really kind of most suitable in this were the ones I tested in this, because I've got things like Gamos and flat points and wasps. Who cares what they're like? They're not going to be very good. So field target trophies, they're kind of all right. You know, I've got nearly a full tin there, so they'll probably go through it just for plenking. Barracuda Hunter Extremes. Now, these are 19 grains, so they're in the right ballpark for PCP. They are currently my Reximex's second favourite pellet. It groups quite nicely at 50 metres. I've been doing 50 metres today because 50 metres seems to be some kind of industry standard. At 50 metres, this was shooting quite nicely with them, about the size of the top of my thumb, you know, that size. So I tried some in this. Now, I've got my target thing here. It's a bit of a comedy. I don't really understand what's wrong with that FX. And I will say right now, the most accurate gun I have ever owned. And I have owned hundreds of guns. Hundreds, if not into triple figures, 4 figures. The most accurate gun I've ever owned was an FX. I think it was the T12. It was a single shot, very lightweight, plastic stock, aluminium, everything else, with a smooth twist barrel, the same as this has a smooth twist barrel. And this was going back a few years when they first came out, and it was in 2.2. And the consensus amongst the greybeards was, oh, you don't want a smooth twist, they don't work at airgun speeds. And that was it. It's all across the forums, not Facebook so much. I don't think Facebook was particularly a thing back then, but smooth twist, oh, you don't want a smooth twist. So anyway, I was down the range with my little cheapy T12, and at, I think it possibly was 50 metres, it was just putting pellet after pellet after pellet through the same hole. And it drew a little crowd of greybeards, and they all stood around me, nodding sagely in about, oh yes, that'll be the Lothar Walther barrel. That's where the accuracy comes from. It's the Lothar Walther barrel. Anyway, shortly after that, I decided to regulate the gun. And while stripping it down, I discovered, to my horror, it was a smooth twist barrel. So there you go. This has a smooth twist barrel. Couldn't hit a cow's ass with a banjo with those pellets, though. The Barracuda Extreme. Now, let me show you. This was my first group. I was aiming for this one. The first pellet is one of these, right up there. I thought, well, okay, you know, I'd done a little bit of zeroing over this side just to get it roughly, just because I was more interested in groups rather than hitting balls. So the first one up here, I thought it's a little bit high, but still aimed at the same point. The second one just missed the ball. Bugger off. Just missed the ball. I thought, oh, do you know what? I must have done something wrong on that first shot. There's the third one. Straight line up and down like that. Now, then I did the same here, but that I will say, I was doing that at 20 foot-pounds. So I thought maybe, because these are both variable power, I thought I'll give them both the same chance. I turn them both up to maximum. After those first 3 shots, turn them both up to maximum, 30 foot-pounds, and away we go. So allowing for that, my next shots aimed at this one, after a bit of zeroing to allow for the extra power, 1, 2, and one of these. Okay, that's the group there. So, okay, I thought, it doesn't like those. So then I tried it with some field, no I didn't, I tried it with Diablo fields, the Air Arms fields. Now these are the Reximex's favourite pellet. Out of the very limited choice I have now, these are its favourite. But when I take them out of there, it's full of twigs, dog hair and stuff like that. At some point I've tipped this tin of pellets on the floor and just brushed them into a pan again. Now, do you remember I did that video on pellet preparation? I said I usually just pick the twigs out. This is what I mean. And they're all deformed and manky and horrible. So what I actually did was got a 5.51 pellet sizer, and as I was using them for both guns, I was pushing them through that to improve the skirts, to improve my chances. So that's when I started get in groups. There's a group of 5, there's a group of 5, there's a group of 5. You know, they're kind of, they're there. I don't know what that one was, but they're not brilliant. Now, this is in my Predator gun rest, you know, the plastic adjustable thing. You lay it in there and you can go up and down, and it is rock solid on the bench, so you know the gun's in the same place every time. And after doing that with those, I then thought, well, I'll just, on the same thing, get me Reximex and put 5 through that. And this is my 5. Now, you can see there, I did pull one of them. That was the first shot, and I knew I'd pulled it, but I carried on, and the other 4 all went through the same hole. Normally, they would all go through the same hole at 50 meters. I know you've seen me complain about the trigger, you've seen me complain about the misaligned shroud, you've seen me complain about lots of things on this gun. While I'm not videoing, I'm working on this gun. I've cleaned bits, I've cleaned the barrel, I've leaded it in with a pellet it likes. This is fantastic value. It's ugly, it's heavy, but it is good value compared to the performance I'm getting from this. Now, I'm going to say straight away, I think there's a problem with this gun, and I don't know what it is, because the most accurate air rifle, the most accurate gun I have ever owned has been with one of these FX barrels on it, the smooth twist barrel. I've run them over the chrono. This is exceptionally consistent. At full power, it's 920 feet a second, 921, 920, 922, 920, 921, 920. It's just like that, like that, like that. This was varying with the same pellets anywhere from 28 foot-pounds to 35 foot-pounds. So maybe it's a regulator issue, maybe it's a hammer issue, but I'm not taking it apart any more than I need to, because it was just here for a fix. And I know, because my friend Mark, who doesn't live many miles away from me here, has got Wildcats, a couple of them I believe, and also an Impact. So I'm going to get together at some point with him and do some shooting and do some accuracy shooting. Now, we're going to have to use a handicap system, because to be fair, he's not very good. But, you know, I think if one of us uses the guns, I mean, I'm not very good either, don't get me wrong. At least I know which end to look down. One of us use the guns and see what kind of comparison we get. But from where I stand right here today with a gun that cost twice as much as the one I bought, I'm bloody glad I bought the one I did. Please like, subscribe, hit notifications, keep an eye out for more of these, as well as more spring stuff coming, and we're getting into the shooting season now. And many of you mentioned in the last video the Velocichickens running around the garden. Yes, they are. In fact, Dorothy Peckins is coming over here right now because she thinks I'm food. If I don't move, she can't see me. I'll see you all again next time. Thank you. Goodbye.